Um, I'm the only person streaming Kovacs name trainers. What do you mean? Making sense. Okay. Weird. Ugh. Welcome to the sea.
33 diverse species of pinnipeds scratch. Seals, sea lions, and walruses are pinnipeds, a family whose Latin name means wing or fin-footed. Carnivorous marine mammals, they spend much of their lives at sea, but rest, mate, and rear their young on land. Surprisingly, their closest relatives are bears. 33 diverse species of pinnipeds scratch out a living in some of Earth's most hostile environments. And there's no shortage of predators with a taste for seal meat.
Nope. Okay. Sick.
Around the globe, many pinniped populations are growing, while others are crashing. These wild fluctuations in numbers remain a mystery. At the Open Ocean Research Center, specially trained sea lions help scientists investigate the animal's energy requirements and diving physiology. In Vancouver's Marine Mammal Rescue Center, abandoned and injured harbor seals are nursed back to health and released into the wild. At the University of British Columbia, researchers study many facets of pinniped biology. You can learn a lot about animals from what they eat and what they excrete. Remarkably intelligent and easily trained, seals and sea lions are popular attractions at marine parks and aquariums. And like pinnipeds in the wild, these guys certainly love a big meal.
USA's Safe Pilot rewards safe drivers with up to 30% off your auto insurance premium.
What? Yeah, big stream title. I'm gonna load it now. We got some LA Confidential rising in the building today.
On Canada's west coast, a dedicated team of professionals work together to learn more about an intriguing group of animals. Pinnipeds, more commonly known as seals and sea lions. Veterinarians, scientists, biologists, and students from the Vancouver Aquarium and University of British Columbia are trying to answer several puzzling questions surrounding pinnipeds. They also hope to unlock two great marine mysteries. Why are stellar sea lions thriving in Canadian waters, while in northern Alaska and Russia, their numbers are falling at an unprecedented rate? And why are northern fur seal populations crashing in the Bering Sea? At the UBC Open Water Research Station, highly trained sea lions provide researchers with new insights into pinniped behavior and biology. Fresh seafood is the animal's prime motivator and a key training tool. Gaining their trust and cooperation is challenging work.
girl, Sika.
They just need a little incentive.
Stellar sea lions in the wild eat quite a bit of herring. When the herring comes in to lay eggs and stuff, there's a lot of it around. They'll definitely eat as much of it as they can. Herring is a very high-fat fish, so it's very calorically dense. It's got a lot of energy. Keeps the animals at a good, healthy weight. So right now, these animals are eating between 5 and 8 kilograms of herring a day. We supplement the herring with vitamins in order to replace the nutrients that get lost in the freezing process.
Unlike dogs that are trained with food and praise, sea lions are all about the treats.
Sea lions are very food-motivated animals, so we use herring as the primary reinforcer to get them to do the research that we need them to do. If you walk out there and ask them to do something without a bucket of fish, they give you a look that says, where's my fish? And they won't actually do anything. But when they see the fish, they're ready to go and they'll do anything we ask them.
It's first thing in the morning,
Yeah,
and the
there
sea
you go,
lions have a
clean
heavy
up,
day
right?
of in-water training.
Sika.
Nothing gets their attention like a bucket of fresh herring.
And Sika's here has got a really cool vocalization. Okay, Sika, let's put your harness on, because we can attach all sorts of different equipment to the harness, and that way we can find out what's going on with the animals, how much energy they use, how they swim, all sorts of cool information. This device here is called a VHF tag, and this transmits a radio signal, so we know where Sika is, and we can track her wherever she goes. So these are a couple other cool pieces of research equipment that we use. This is called an accelerometer, and it tells us how she swims. This device here is called a time depth recorder. So this tells how deep she swims. It'll actually give us water temperature. We have a camera here that we can mount onto the harness of the sea lions, and that way the animals can actually take their own video footage, and we can see really what the animals are doing when they're out in the wild and we can't see them. She's really a wild animal, and Sika has all of those wild tendencies. We work very closely with these guys to be able to have them used to us and used to other people around, but it takes a lot of time and patience to get to that point. Good girl, Sika.
The first training exercises of the day are swim tests. The animals are always eager to venture into the open sea.
Ready for a swim? Okay, go, in the water. Good, Sika, right here. So when I have Sika swimming along the boat here like this, when I put my hand down, it means for her to go dive underwater and swim next to the boat. And she'll stay down there for a short period of time, about 30 seconds, even up to a minute sometimes. And then if I raise my hand up, it means for her to surface, and that means I'm going to give her reinforcement. And that's what we call a bridge. And a bridge tells the animals when they've done the behavior that we've looked for.
Our cows are the highest and best use of this land. We're able to turn cows out there and...
The seals and sea lions have got different ways to swim. The seals use their hind flippers. They rely on a lot of blubber to stay warm, whereas the sea lions and fur seals are using their front flippers. It turns out to be not the most efficient way to swim. What we've learned here is that they're not great divers. We're really surprised to realize just that the average dive time is only about 3 minutes max. And that turns out to be an efficient way that they can dive continuously over and over.
There, guys. Right there.
New technology has been instrumental in many recent breakthroughs at the research station. Some of these advances come from surprising sources.
The electrical engineers, and largely through the cell phone industry, have gone far faster and far further than what the biologists have been able to keep up with. We can now record data 16 times per second. We've got three-dimensional accelerometers that measure forwards, upwards, sideways, magnetometers, now even gyroscopes. So one of the things we've been doing here is applying these brand new technologies for the first time From that, we can know exactly where they've gone in the ocean, where they dived to, how long they stayed down, and for the first time, truly understand what the animals are doing when we can't see them underwater.
Get
One
me
of the
some
things that we
tracking
do
now.
with the animals, as a really big reward when they've done a great job, and Sika's done a great job today, we like to give them a treat, and that's important. Everybody likes to get treats sometimes. So now a treat for a sea lion, like this, is a big salmon. So that's what I got here, and Sika sees it. So there's a big salmon
Coffee.
for Sika. Now she's a pretty big animal, and she can eat a pretty big salmon. Now that
She's
is a
adorable.
treat.
Sika.
The Open Water Research Station has been the jewel in our crown. It's the most novel thing that anybody's attempted. No one thought it was possible to train stellar sea lions to begin with, but then to go that next step and say, well, now we're going to open the door, let them go swim and do what they want. People said they're just going to disappear.
There you go, Bonnie. Dome.
But we had confidence in the trainers, and they came up with a system, and it's worked beautifully. And now literally it's like taking your dog out for a walk and taking it off leash. And they're doing these incredible things that no one ever thought would be possible.
Good girl, Bonnie. Good girl.
Bonnie is resting inside our metabolic dome. We're trying to get a baseline measurement. We want to know how many calories does she burn just to rest and float in the ocean. Air is being drawn through this tube, circulated, and continues through being sampled by our CO2 and oxygen analyzer inside the Stellar Pilot. And in just a couple minutes, we can now start making her work for her food. And for that, we're going to find out how many calories does it cost a sea lion to go down to depth to find its food, eat it, and come back to the surface.
So we're just pumping the fish down in order to send it down 10 meters to the sea lion so that she can forage for the fish at the bottom of the tubes.
Are we good to go? Good.
The animal is swimming, it's diving, it's coming back to the surface. It's doing what a sea lion would do naturally. What we're doing as scientists is we are sampling all the air that it's breathing. We're sucking it through the tubes, through our analyzers, and it's all ending up here on our laptop computer. This is the data we need.
The analyzers are reading the oxygen concentration and carbon dioxide concentration that is being produced inside the dome. So that's telling us how much oxygen is being consumed by Bonnie and how much carbon dioxide she's producing after every dive.
We can now do some back calculations to convert that into calories. So now we know how many calories did the animal spend to dive to different depths and to spend different amounts of time underwater.
Pinnipeds are generally very trainable animals,
Thousand
but like
short.
many species, they have their difficult moments. Usually, though, they're a delight to work with and a favorite of many trainers.
Stellars are a fantastic animal to train. They're very stubborn, and they can test you. They make life interesting. They keep you on your toes, for sure. Let me kiss. Good. Does she love me? No. She just loves the fish that I give her for doing what I ask her to do.
Itchy.
Good girl, man. Good girl. All right, go home. Good girl, Bonnie. So this behavior, going back in the cage to go home, is probably the most important behavior these animals do. So this one is always reinforced heavily.
The animals are giving us an enormous wealth of data, things that no one ever thought would be possible to do. No one has ever tried to train stellar sea lions to do the types of things that they're doing here. We're now getting into the heads and the minds of the sea lions. We now understand what motivates them, what their limitations are, and now we can take this data and now reflect back on what we've been observing in the wild to, for the first time, I think, understand what's driving that system and why stellar sea lions are in trouble in Alaska.
It's the end of another research day, and time to head back to the facility's holding pens. The sea lions, of course, always have the option to simply run, or rather swim away, to the open ocean. But they never do. Hazy, Sitka, and Bonnie like to have one last treat before retiring for the evening. Harbor police sometimes drop off large salmon confiscated from poachers. And when whole salmon is the entree, there's a palpable excitement in the air.
Good girl.
Sometimes, though, a large fish doesn't quite go down on the first try.
Back here, Lane. Wasn't happy with the way it went down the first time. Got it?
These remote Alaskan beaches were once crowded with northern fur seals and stellar sea lions. Now the beaches are mostly barren. Millions of fur seals once congregated on these shores.
The Pribilof Islands of Alaska are located in the middle of the Bering Sea. It's like two floating aircraft carriers. And that is the home base for thousands of seabirds and at 1.3 million northern fur seals. That was the mother lode. There's regions of the coastline, as you go from California up into southeast Alaska, where we're seeing almost exponential growth of elephant seals, harbor seals, California sea lions, stellar sea lions. As you go further north through the Gulf of Alaska, all the way over to Russia, northern Japan, they've collapsed. It's been this roller coaster dive. Over 80% of these populations have just disappeared. The curious thing has been that they've disappeared under our watch. We have all this modern technology and we're left scratching our heads and there's no bodies. We don't know where they've gone, what's happened to them.
Dr. Andrew Treitz is one of the world's foremost authorities on pinnipeds. He heads the Marine Mammal Research Unit at the University of British Columbia.
A lot of our focus has been on why are the sea lions declining and why are the fur seals declining in Alaska. And a lot of people think that it's tied into the types of fish that they're eating. So we've brought fish from Alaska to our lab here, and we're trying to find out just how good is this fish? How many calories does it have? Does it have enough to make a sea lion healthy? We need to know a couple things about the fish. Is it a sea lion eating size? How old is the fish?
And to find out how old fish are, you simply have to dissect their heads, locate and remove their ear bones.
Just like on a tree, I've got annual growth rings. If we section that, we can count the rings to know how old the fish is. And finally, we're going to take the fish and grind it up just as though it's ended up in a sea lion's stomach. And we'll take a sample of that and put it into the bomb calorimeter ultimately. And we're going to burn that to see how many calories does that whole fish have. Just as we would determine how many calories are in the food that we eat, we're using the same techniques to determine how many calories are in the food that seals and sea lions eat. A lot of what we know about the nutrition of fish is about for humans, where we just look at the fillets. But of course, the sea lion doesn't eat the fillets, they eat the whole fish. So we have to do a full body workup.
What they eat, how much they eat, and other nutrition data is crucial to understanding pinnipeds. But some of the scientists' most valuable research tools are the animal's feces.
When you're working with poop, you got to make sure you glove up. You can find so much information from poop, it's not even funny. Although it's a little bit funny, as most people find out. But you can find hard parts, which would be the undigestible bones that animals are eating. We can find their stress hormone levels from subsampling it from that. We can now use new techniques for getting genetics so we can find out what they're eating as well and compare it with those bones that we pull out. Poop may very well be our most important scientific tool.
What most people don't realize is just how much information is contained within a poop sample, or what we call scats. These scat samples, which just looks like waste lying on the rock,
scat
contains
samples.
an incredible amount of information that helps us unlock the mystery of the animals' lives.
Or a different scenario.
What I'm doing right now is I'm separating the hard parts in the harbor seal scats from the what we call the matrix material, which is essentially the the stinky part of the scat. We're trying to quantify the proportions of different species of prey DNA.
Stability.
What we're trying to do now is go the next step further and say, go beyond just identifying what's there to actually quantifying the proportions.
Air pure.
You really can learn a lot from what comes out of the back end of an animal.
What we have here is a CSI lab dedicated to solving mysteries about seals and sea lions. Universities are often at the forefront of new ideas. You've got some of the brightest, youngest minds thinking outside the box, and so we're able to combine skills from engineering, statistics, food and nutritional sciences. We're able to work across disciplines and do things in quite novel ways and come up with new techniques and original new ideas and insights into things that others may have missed completely.
Stupid ad.
At the Vancouver Aquarium, some of the star attractions are pinnipeds. But these animals are not just performers, they're research partners. Stellar sea lions and northern fur seals are key participants in ongoing studies into why the animals are disappearing in Alaska and Russia.
Northern fur seals are just one of the calmest animals I've worked. There's very little nervousness in most cases. Good. Hey. So right now, I am just measuring on it. So I'm measuring it from the tip of her nose right to her tail.
For sure.
But while doing this, we want to keep it very positive. So I'm just feeding her throughout.
Love her haircut.
Good girl. So, spin. Good. Left. Good. Open. Very good. Northern fur seals are an amazing animal to work. Training these guys is not too different than training a puppy. You start very, very small. Their attention is going to be a lot smaller than an adult animal, of course. So we start very, very small with a lot of reinforcement. Cuckoo, on the scale. This is one of the metabolic chambers, and we practice placing them in and out pretty much every single day. And maybe once every couple of weeks to every couple of months, depending on the study, we will have them in there for a certain amount of time, usually about between 60 to 80 minutes, and it measures her resting metabolic rate. Pretty much all the animals that are here, I've raised from pups, so there's definitely a relationship between myself and the animals that are here at the aquarium and at our open water site.
We brought fur seals from Alaska, from the Pribilof Islands to the Vancouver Aquarium to help solve some of the missing pieces of their life cycle. We don't know, for example, how much food do they require? Are they getting enough to eat? We don't know anything about their growth curves. We measure their lengths, their weights, to understand what time of the year do they need more food, what time of the year do they need less. These animals are helping us solve an incredible ecological mystery that not only touches the Bering Sea, but the entire North Pacific Ocean.
And on the far side of the habitat, we will soon...
As a researcher, I've got lots of ideas of things we could do, but I'm not an animal trainer. I'm not a vet. What I realized early on is that nobody makes progress as a researcher alone. It's only by working with others. What the aquarium offers is they already have a proven expertise in caring for animals. They're phenomenal at training. And I also recognize that it's expensive. People don't appreciate what the cost is to care for animals, the amount of individual attention one animal requires.
And admission fees at aquariums help fund important research.
Hello, everybody, once again. My name is Kirsten, giving you a wave right here on the Wild Coast, just opposite to that green tent. Thanks for waving back. And I'm wondering, how many of you are excited for the 12 o'clock
Loki thought that was an ad. She was just yapping.
Fantastic.
Oh my god, look at that. I beat my high score by 0.3%.
To succeed at this, you need partnerships. And so we have a partnership with the Vancouver Aquarium. and they provide all the husbandry and training expertise, care of the animals. And from the university, we're providing the researchers the ideas and the hypothesis tests. But in the end, it's a collaboration of ideas.
So on behalf of myself, the trainers, and the incredible marine mammals, we all wish you a fantastic rest of your day at the Vancouver Aquarium. Thanks so much for coming out.
After the performances, there's still work to do, especially with the Steller sea lions and fur seals.
Right down. That's good.
And like their counterparts at the Open Ocean Research Center, aquarium animals also need a fishy incentive.
Yeah, these animals are very food motivated. Fastest way to their heart is through their stomachs, that's for sure.
Training is not the only important facet to pinniped life at the aquarium. Keeping the animals fit, both in mind and body, is a top priority for the staff.
They do get a lot of natural exercise in the wild, so we like to stimulate that here with higher energy leaps and jumps and just general higher energy behaviors. It's also a lot of fun for them to do as well.
Oh,
So we give them toys
I
and
beat
things
it
to
by,
play with
like,
on a regular
one.
basis, and we try to mix it up as much as possible to keep it varied.
paid.
Steller sea lions are amazing animals to work with. I mean, to be able to have the relationship that we have with these animals and work with them day in and day out, it's definitely a pleasure. They all have individual personalities, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And us kind of having to work with them keeps us on our toes. And it's just really a lot of fun to be able to communicate with an animal and have such a strong working relationship with them.
All the animals at the aquarium require extensive veterinary care. It's a team effort to keep all the pinnipeds healthy.
My job as the veterinarian at the Vancouver Aquarium is basically to maintain the animals in our collection in the best health possible. So a large part of my job is designing a health management program for each of the species that we deal with, and that becomes very, very individualized, especially for the marine mammals. We do have animals living a lot longer than they would in the wild, for example. So we have a lot of these sort of old age problems to contend with. Very old sea lions might develop cataracts. We have potentially some arthritic issues in old sea lions. Certainly dental problems become an issue as any organism ages. Some of our old animals have come up with cancers as they've aged. So it sort of becomes a sort of geriatric medicine. I've been working with pinnipeds in particular for close to about 25 years now, and every day I still find something new that's absolutely fascinating about the species. And honestly, I have got the coolest animals in the whole world to work with, and I was fascinated by marine mammals as early as age 7, and that's never left me.
I did really bad.
Harbor seal mothers often leave their pups on shore unattended when they head out to feed. Baby animals are sometimes then abandoned or injured. Many of them are eventually brought to the Vancouver Aquarium Marine Mammal Rescue Center.
Right now, Janelle is doing a physical exam on this little girl, Peyton, who
I
came in
keep getting the
yesterday.
same score.
We do an exam on every animal when they first come in. So we check all the body systems just to make sure that everything's okay and check and see if there's any wounds, that kind of thing. All teeth are erupted. We start at the tip of the nose and work our way down to the tail. So check all the sensory organs, eyes, ears, mouth, nose, teeth, gums, heart, lungs, gastrointestinal system, musculoskeletal system, an estimate on how old we think they are, and attitude-wise. So she's obviously pretty bright and alert. The majority of the animals that come into our center are harbor seals, and a lot of them are neonates, so they're less than a week old when they first come into our center. For the most part, the harbor seals are separated from their mothers for whatever reason that is.
Other species of pinnipeds could be disentanglements that we brought them in for. Some of them are emaciated for other reasons, so each case is different.
The younger pups are briefly fed a special formula to simulate their mother's rich milk. As soon as possible, though, the animals are introduced to fish, the nutritious food they will need to survive in the wild.
Herring's a pretty high-fat fish, so for these guys, when they're just weaning onto fish, we want them to gain lots of weight and get a good layer of blubber on them before they get released. So this is Saturn.
So once the animals are strong enough at a certain weight, then we're able to actually start fish schooling them. So what that means is that we will offer them herring. Some of the guys, it takes a little bit longer to learn how to actually fish school and catch the fish.
Even chasing a dead herring is critical training these marine animals will need when they are eventually released. It still requires a bit of practice.
Normally we go the other way?
Normally they go head first, but never floats your boat.
Many of the pups brought to the rescue center are in reasonably good health. Most are just hungry and dehydrated. However, some have serious injuries or infections that need prompt attention. Veterinarian staff from the Vancouver Aquarium are brought in for exams and treatment when necessary. This pup, Beetlejuice, had an eye injury that might require surgery.
It's very much kind of a herd health approach to these guys. There's definitely an initial physical exam, and then as we notice other problems associated with their stranding, so we see secondary problems like a bad eye here on poor Beetlejuice, and we get a little bit more intensive with our exam, with our care. I think we have a very, very good success rate. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've had really, really good success and going 70 to 75% and now approaching 80% success. So that's actually phenomenal.
It doesn't take long for the pups to regain their strength and to thrive. In a matter of weeks, they're nearly ready for release back into the wild.
These animals are pretty much ready for release. They've got about a week or 2 left in our center. Most of them are over 15 kilos, and we like them to be about 20 plus kilos for release. They're all competing really well for their food, and they're getting lots of conditioning time in the pool.
We know you appreciate precision. That's why USAA gets the details right.
Dad, can I take the call? No, we definitely like to make sure that they are healthy, that everything is running properly inside to give them the best chance of survival that we can while they're out there.
With so many animals flooding into the rescue center, it helps to assign them names.
Each year we have a naming theme. This year it's astronomy. It's a great opportunity for our volunteers and people that have helped us out with the rescues to name the animals. We don't call them by that name, but it's more of association so we can tell them apart on paper. You can definitely see a difference between a few of them. A lot of them have a lot of different markings, different colorings, different facial expressions in general, so a few of them we can tell apart just by looking at them. It's a huge team effort here with our staff and our volunteers, and we would not be able to run this whole center without the help of our volunteers.
Another lid for food. I need a lid for sticky. I volunteer here at Marine Mammal Rescue because I enjoy making a positive contribution to the environment. Seals perhaps are not the most endangered species, but they're an indicator species, so when we see them come in, we can see, oh, our environment's doing pretty well, and it's really fun to be able to say goodbye seal and when they go back to the ocean.
Like sharks, dolphins, and other large aquatic animals, seals and sea lions now have an enthusiastic fan club. In many parts of the world, scuba divers and snorkelers can swim with the animals in their natural habitat. But some people question whether these close interactions might alter the behavior of wild pinnipeds.
Hornby Island Diving has been operating for over 40 years, a family-run business. My father started the business in the early 70s, and now my wife and myself, Amanda, operate the business.
That's awkward. New benchmark.
We've introduced many divers to sea lions over the years. When we have groups that come, we're very careful to give detailed briefings as to the etiquette in the water. When we're around the sea lions, we like to make sure we don't disturb the animals on shore. Resting is an important part of their daily activity, so we don't have any impact on that.
Marine mammals, especially orcas and other whales, are currently protected from disturbance by tourism activities. Whale watching in particular is a closely regulated industry. Some authorities now want to give seals and sea lions the same level of protection.
So the animals we're seeing here in this area are transient animals. They're here just feeding, and they are going to follow the herring in this area until it leaves the Strait of Georgia, and then they will head off to their respective breeding grounds, whether that's north or south from here. Most of the stellars we see are from the Oregon coast, so they will follow that herring back out of the Strait of Georgia and Juan de Fuca, and then will continue their journey home.
Canada's Department of Fisheries and Oceans, or DFO, has recently proposed new regulations restricting close approach to all marine mammals, including seals and sea lions. If enforced, these new rules will effectively kill this fledgling industry.
I hate this where I get this, like, so close over and over again.
Pinnipeds are intensely curious animals, and scuba divers clad in neoprene and sporting all kinds of interesting gadgets are impossible to resist.
So we just ask our groups are in the water, they keep them hands to themselves, just allow the animals to come to them. You know, it's the animal's choice to come to the diver. We don't ever allow groups to actively go after sea lions, but if the sea lion wishes to come and interact with the diver, that's their choice. They have their moods. Some days they're not interested in you in the least bit, and other days they're very interested. They want to test every piece of equipment you have. They're just like big dogs playing with you in the water. You know, they get very excited. Anything in the water, whether it be a diver or a stick floating by, they're just eager to interact with it and try and figure out what it is.
The question remains, does this type of interaction negatively impact the behavior and well-being of marine mammals, especially seals and sea lions? The jury is still out on the issue.
The interaction of scuba divers and sea lions does have some controversy. Some people in DFO believe that we're negatively impacting the behavior of the sea lions. We've done this for enough years that our philosophy of our business is, you know, we're very careful to how we interact with animals, and if we felt we were having a negative impact on the animals, we would change our operating procedures.
Enjoy banking with a twist of convenience. Part Bank, Part Cafe. Perfectly unexpected.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. The best in entertainment in one
This world. 9:17, literally 4 short of it. Over and over again.
One sure thing, these playful sea lions seem to enjoy having the divers pay them a visit.
Okay, guys, welcome aboard the Juan de Fuca Warrior. We're heading out to Race Rocks. We're 9 miles right out into the middle of Juan de Fuca Strait. About a 15 or 20 minute run today. So welcome to Race Rocks, you guys. We're just entering the park. We're not allowed to anchor, tie up, be over the side of the boat, tied to the kelp, any of that sort of stuff in here. There is a speed limit in here for boats too. Vessels aren't allowed to go any more than 5 knots over ground. We call this out here, Race Rocks, the bachelor pad for the sea lions. These are all males who've done their business and they're coming and relaxing on the rocks.
Julie Bowser is one of the island's student caretakers. She's happy to host some rare visitors on her remote outpost.
Thought we'd say hi before we go out for a dive.
Julie invited the divers onto the island for a quick tour before the team donned their scuba equipment. Race Rocks is a National Historic Site and a strictly protected ecological preserve. Situated in the Strait of Juan de Fuca, its rugged shores are battered by strong winds and tidal currents. It's an ideal resting spot and haul-out site for pinnipeds. Many of these animals are exhausted from long migrations along the coast.
He's on the move. Just go right over the top of the others.
the original 80-foot-tall lighthouse from 1860 still stands today. Massive granite blocks quarried in Scotland were shipped around Cape Horn to construct the tower's base.
My job title is the Eco Guardian of the reserve, so my job is to try and keep the place as natural as it can be for the species out here. Mainly my job is to watch out for the boats out here, so whale watchers that come in and get too close or speed through the reserve, and they act as a disturbance to the whales and the sea lions and the seals.
Race Rocks is also an important bird sanctuary. At certain times of the year, the island is packed with nesting seabirds. The star attractions, though, are the seals and sea lions.
I mean, we've been coming here for probably 30 years or so. I mean, the sea lions are usually here all the time, although the numbers change throughout the year as they move around. I mean, there aren't so many right now. I mean, at this time of year, their numbers are fairly low.
I really thought I did better on that
At certain times of the year, there'll be hundreds and hundreds of them here.
There's someone else.
Unlike at Hornby Island, the California and Steller sea lions at Race Rocks weren't so eager to join the divers. The level of interaction on any given dive is entirely up to the seals and sea lions.
Well, when we first got in, it was pretty slim pickings. They weren't too active, so we went right up against the rocks, popped our heads up a couple of times, and they're all just lying there soaking up the sun. They weren't interested in coming and playing. And then all of a sudden, big California came in and gave us a good flyby. I mean, you got to remember, these animals, a big male's about 2,000 pounds plus, and if he wanted to do damage to you, it certainly could. I mean, they're big animals, so you have to be careful.
Depending on how things progress with Canada's Department of Fisheries and Oceans' new policies, this type of diving tourism may become a thing of the past.
Ooh, that felt good. Yeah, that was a high score. By just a couple,
most
that felt
species
really
of
good.
pinnipeds are generally thriving. The Marine Mammal Protection Act of the early 70s effectively ended commercial exploitation of seals and sea lions, and their numbers have rebounded.
Some of the most visible components of the marine ecosystem are the seals and sea lions. Because they haul out, we can count them. If we see change in the numbers, that tells us something's going on. Pinnipeds are like the canary in the coal mine. It's an early warning indicator. If you see the seals and sea lions declining, it's telling you something's not right. The declines in the Gulf of Alaska, Aleutian Islands, Russian waters, they all began in the late 1970s. It coincides with a buildup of fishing. So I thought, as most people thought, well, that's pretty obvious then, isn't it? Except that we couldn't find any connection between where the fishes operated, the amounts of fish caught, the rates of decline, nothing added up. That then led us into looking at alternative explanations. We then ended up with a second hypothesis.
Ooh.
The first was that
I stayed ahead. I'm like
depleted the
through
prey,
2/4
and
of the
so there was
marathon
less
now, I guess.
quantity. The other
Huge.
was that, in fact, the quantity had increased, but what was different is that the quality had changed. The diet of the sea lions in the past was not cod and pollock. They were eating in the past the oilier, fattier fishes. It was thought, well, maybe there's something nutritionally wrong with this fish. It became known as the junk food hypothesis, which was they were eating too much of low-quality food. In hindsight, it probably should have been called the Nutrilite hypothesis or the low-cal hypothesis, because what seems to have happened is there seems to be a lot of prey for them to eat, but it's low energy. So it's effectively like people trying to live in a field of celery. There's a huge biomass there, there's all kinds to eat, but you keep eating and you'll be full and still hungry before you've ever gotten enough to meet your needs.
Damn, it's close.
So that was one of the hypotheses that we tested with our captive seals and sea lions. We fed them fish that they used to eat in the past, and we realized that they were very happy and content. But when we put them onto a diet of pollock, what they're currently eating, we discovered a really surprising thing, which was that the young animals were getting full before they'd eaten enough. It was one of those moments where you go, of course an animal can get full, but all of us have been thinking marine mammals are just gluttons. They never get satiated. They just eat and eat and eat. No, they're like people. They can get full, and if you're a young animal and you fill your stomach with low energy fish, you're not going to make it.
At one time, seals and sea lions were aggressively hunted for their lush pelts. Many pinnipeds were considered threats to commercial fishing and were slaughtered simply to reduce their populations. But now, the animals are protected and their numbers are on the rise, except in the far northern Pacific.
With pinnipeds, we've now scratched below the surface, and we're
Oh,
going
yes,
deeper and
380.
deeper
What
with
do I
it.
need for
They
about
literally
390?
have been our eyes and ears into an entire ecosystem. They're showing us things that we never knew about. They're making us realize how complex it is, and also how careful we need to be about not tipping that balance further.
Among its forests, seas, and plains, Europe's wilderness is home to some of the continent's rarest and most endangered species. This series will take you to some of its remotest corners to show its incredible diversity. A powerful predator, often underestimated by humans, resides on Europe's coast. And recently, the gray seal has returned to the North Sea and the Baltic. This skillful swimmer regularly crosses the North Sea from the German coast to reach England. In the German Baltic, it has settled in the Greifswald Lagoon.
If I were him, I'd bundle my home and auto and pick up the real victory. Savings.
Are you talking about bowling?
No. Bundle, Jan. Bundle. Bundle and save with the
Bad, 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 bad.
The Greifswald Lagoon is a very peaceful bay on the southern Baltic in Germany. Almost entirely surrounded by land, it has a surface area of over 500 kilometers, a huge body of water surrounded by green shores. For gray seals, this idyll has become one of their favorite places on the German coast. 100 years ago, they had died out in the German Baltic, but over the last 15 years, they have been reclaiming their territory on the German coast. Their pups are born in the middle of winter. Their soft fur protects from the cold. But the youngsters are only allowed into the water briefly with their fleecy coats. The downy fur quickly clogs up with water. These youngsters don't yet have a protective blubber layer like the older seals. The only solution? Eat, eat, and eat some more. Mothers constantly force their young to drink milk, the fat content of which is over 50%. Young seals grow by 1.5 to 2 kilos a day. After about 2 weeks, their size and weight has increased by a factor of 4, and from then on, they have to look after themselves. Gray seals are perfectly adapted to a life in the water. The youngsters can swim from birth. They may look a bit clumsy on land.
I really thought I was doing like really good there, but 6'11" again.
And agile. Gray seals can reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers an hour. In some extreme cases, they can dive to depths of 300 meters and stay underwater for up to half an hour. All of this despite weighing up to 300 kilograms. Scientists like Linda Westphal observe and record data about these creatures regularly. If they understand their needs and preferences, they can protect them better.
We've got waves of 50, 60 centimeters. That could be one. Yeah, there. At about 2 o'clock there.
Juvenile gray seals often migrate long distances. If they get to the Greifswald Lagoon, they find plenty to eat, especially on the seafloor.
That's first score of the day. It only took
to the surface to breathe.
54 minutes, but that was my best high score. I need to heat up my coffee real quick. I'll be right back. Enjoy the seal documentary.
They can be very curious and come right up to the boat. If we're lucky, we can identify them and say, okay, these are the animals that come back to our coast every year. It's wonderful to observe this, of course. They are our largest native predator, and they are at the top of the food chain. This means that when we study gray seals, we can draw conclusions about the whole ecosystem, which clearly opens up fascinating questions.
In the narrow channel between Rügen and the mainland lies Stralsund.
Okay, I'm back. I want to play Tile Frenzy.
The Ozeaneum is part of the German Sea Museum where Westphal works.
I also want to take a ball rip, but like quickly Tile Frenzy to celebrate.
After shedding their down fur as babies, every seal grows a new hide with distinctive markings. Linda Westphal and her colleagues keep records on all the animals in a central database.
We also use image recognition software. When we upload pictures of the seals, the software shows us images of similar fur patterns. It's really important in order to help keep on top of the developments in the population.
Oh, this is so hard.
A group of scientists is working together to try to get an overview of the Baltic's population as a whole. Gray seals live in many northern seas. Alongside the
I had it for a
small
second,
population
that
in the
counts.
Baltic, there are sizable numbers in the Atlantic and the North Sea. Germany's only deep-sea island, Helgoland, is popular with gray seals in the North Sea as a place to rest and to mate. The sea's depth here provides them with good hunting grounds, and Helgoland's wide, duny beaches are ideal to relax on.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. America's #1 trusted paper towel.
First Bounty, get out of here. No, we're not.
It's Halloween time, and Minnie's begun to brew up delights and spice.
Seal.
These elegant underwater predators come up to the surface to breathe or relax. If they want a longer rest, though, they prefer the beach.
Alex! Alex!
Ranger Uta Pausch comes down to the beach every morning
Mom
to
is
see
here.
what the seals are up to.
Mom.
On land, they look lazy and relaxed as they loll around in the sun. But they need
I have no
this
idea when you
recovery
chatted
from
that.
their
I wish I could
tiring
see
underwater
when
hunting trips.
the chats were chatted. This is new. Just now,
Depending on the
yay!
season, up to 1,000 seals can come together on dune next to Helgoland.
Beautiful.
In the summer, the numbers we see here are pretty low, and it is easy to keep an eye on them. In winter, as the numbers are so high, and we have to try to keep a record of all of them, it can take hours.
So glad I was actually keeping an eye on the chat. You can see, I don't know how to change it, maybe there's a box next to chat.
Exploring and playing. And every
Yeah, I
non-seal movement
see,
they see in the water
like-
has to be properly investigated. It's in their nature. It's a key instinct.
Gray seals.
There's
are the
probably a way to
largest
pull it up in
predators
like the
Germany.
chat panel,
Their teeth develop to full strength just a month
because I
after
see where there's
birth,
settings,
and
but
they are
I
comparable
don't want
size
to
to
deal
an
with it right now
Alsatian.
because there's like it's like a whole little panel
Because
thing,
their
and
teeth are
I
pointed
can't.
and round,
It's
they
too
are
much.
called skittle seals
It's
in German.
relax time.
They use their whiskers to navigate underwater.
I hope you had a really good nap. I've been enjoying the seal documentaries. They're really nice. It should be in this
They use
chat,
their
not like your
mouths to
settings.
establish contact. Their senses are strongest in their whiskers and mouth.
It should be simple.
So
Click
they don't
the
use their
3
flippers
dots.
to touch a swimmer's back in order to see how naked skin feels. No, they put it in their mouth. And that leads to a
I
lot
got
of
it.
misunderstandings and small
I got the
bites.
timestamps. That was it. Thank you. It was the 3 dots. Yeah, it was just
Visitors are
it's a
meant to
little
keep a
little
distance of
clicker and it
30
said
meters from the
timestamps.
seals, but many do not abide
Thank
by
you.
this rule.
Wee whoop, wee whoop.
Pausch's next job
Wee
is to
whoop.
look after the whaler. This is what a
Hey,
abandoned sea baby
wee
is called.
whoop, wee whoop.
Gray seals have got through the worst of it by summer, but rangers still often find abandoned common seal orphans.
I'm having so much fun. I just got
Is that
a
the
new
youngsters get separated
Aw.
from their mothers
Aw.
by human intervention.
Patrick
and they
Boo.
get left on the beach. We obviously can't always
I
tell
just
if it is a
got
human
a
fault,
mammoth
meaning
on
we can't tell if a seal has been abandoned or if it simply can't survive for some other
tracking.
reason.
I
As
do
a result,
tracking, and I'm really good
we
at the
give
tracking.
most animals
So
that have a
that's
reasonable
actually
chance of
huge. It's
survival
genuinely
a
huge.
second chance.
I forget which one it was though. I think it was this. No, it was not that. It was 9-7. I don't know. But I got another
And they
mammoth.
mostly
I don't
get
have
a
a lot
second
of.
chance
Not
80
a lot of
kilometers
mammoths.
away
It was
across
big.
the North Sea on the mainland. More than
Fingertips.
7,000
Oh,
gray
mammoth
seals
now.
live in northern Germany's
Okay.
Wattenmeer.
I want to go back and play
Occasionally,
the
young seals
tile
left
frenzy.
behind
Look at
by
this.
their
This
mothers
is
are
called
found by people
piano
on the
tiles.
beach.
This shit's so much fun. You play piano tiles, but you're shooting the tiles. That's so hard. Fuck.
The seal sanctuary at Norden Norddijk offers them a new home. Lena Camper is one of 100 helpers who look after the seals who end up here. Every year, between 80 and 150 orphaned animals are raised here
Okay,
before being
come on.
released into the North Sea. They stay here for 4 to 5 months until they are fit enough to be released back into the wild. Camper feeds them for the duration of their stay.
We try and avoid as much contact with them as possible. This means we only ever come into their space to feed them and clean. As they will later be released back into the wild, it is important that they remain shy around humans.
Oh, I did so good for a second. That was so sick. That was so sick. Oh.
These marine predators are at the top of the food chain and have no natural enemies, except humans.
ウマ娘新シナリオ。ウマ娘たちがファンに感謝を伝えられる場所を。私はただ輝いている姿が見たかった。このライブ。
Oh! That was so sick. The anime ad in the background is crazy work.
Until a hunting ban was brought in the 90s, the gray seal was almost extinct in Germany.
Here we go. We go back to the benchmarks. Ground Sparky. Oh, this is a classic enemy of mine.
This light one here is
Inamu.
called Anna. She's the only female in the group here. The pudgy one there, which has just dived down, is called Marshmallow. That's Kristoff, and this small one here is Boulder.
These young seals.
Oh,
live
this
in
is hard.
artificial
This is freaking
conditions here.
hard.
In the wild, 3 young males would not form a group together. Instead, they would surround themselves with females.
Gray seals are playful animals which form groups in the wild too. These groups are like harems with one male and a group of females. You can see that here too. They love messing around. They play a lot more than common seals do.
But life is different in captivity.
I didn't know where it was gonna spawn.
High
Oh,
tide
this is so
comes
hard.
twice a day in the wild and keeps the beaches pretty clean. We don't have that here.
Here, that's a job for the keepers. And while some work, others relax. They have no idea what's in store for them.
Okay.
But once the young seals get wind of what they will need to do in the wild, the keepers have to be careful.
They have pretty big teeth with quite a lot of power in their jaws. A bit like a dog. And they know what to do with it too. Yeah, they do start biting.
A fully grown bull can weigh up to 300 kilograms. These ones are luckily still a bit smaller, but they will need to get quite a bit heftier before they will be able to survive in the wild. Anna and Boulder are being released into the North Sea at high tide near the rescue center.
It's such a nice feeling that they are going out into freedom because everything we do here is to give a second chance out there in the wild. As a result, the best moments and the best reward we get for our work here is to be there when they get released. They have no idea what the heck to them, and so
I hated that.
I think they are a bit nervous. They want to get out of this pokey crate.
I was close to high score, but it sucked.
The currents here
Doing it
mean
suck.
the 2 young seals
Air
have an easy
spectral, let's try
path
this.
out towards open sea.
This is it.
They instinctively know where danger is lurking.
They have just done exactly the right thing just there when that boat went past. They chose to give it a wide berth and both of them came back towards us. So I'm pretty sure they will be all right out there. After many years of experience doing this, we know that the animals we raise here have an excellent chance of survival. We have seen seals in the wild that were here 20 years ago. And we have seen them in France too, not just in Germany.
Damn.
It won't be long before the youngsters are swimming up to 100 kilometers a day. Thanks to GPS data, we know that some even swim across the channel. They need to be careful as they make their way across the North Sea. In among the container ships are a host of dangers, and seals can also be killed by underwater turbines and wind power stations. But if they make it to Britain, the conditions for them are perfect. Large parts of the coast here are protected.
Safelight can do it all. Repair, replace, and recalibrate anywhere you want. Go to safelight.com.
Girls, are you using a leg razor on your pubic area? The
Excuse
Venus
me?
pubic razor will change your freak.
In the further
There we
reaches of England's northeast lie the uninhabited Farne Islands. Depending on the tide, there are between 15 and 20 islands. Thanks to their dramatic coastline, a large number of shipwrecks, and the significant gray seal population, they are a popular diving spot. The seals communicate underwater using clicks and melodic whistles. Above the water, they roar, bellow, and yelp. They are a highly communicative species and have vocal cords like humans. They can even learn to sing songs. The gray seals in the Farne Islands are used to divers these days. The young ones are especially famous, even notorious, for their curiosity. % of the global gray seal population lives on Britain's coasts. There is therefore always a good chance of running into them underwater. "50 kilometers away in Blyth, on the British mainland, a team of divers has dedicated themselves to the protection of the oceans and their inhabitants.
Come on then, let's get this planned.
All right then.
Nick Emery and James Learwood are planning their next dive.
Okay, so where we're going to go? It's really special because I think most people don't realise how amazing it is. So because it's cold and because most days it is a little bit darker, then they tend to think that nothing lives there. And then when you take people down, they're like, oh, there's just life everywhere. There's lobsters, there's crabs, there's, you know, all sorts of stuff. Of course, we've got the seals on our doorstep as well, which is just, diving with the seals is amazing.
There's a couple that'll come up and almost like a puppy, so they'll come up and put their head on the fins and kind of just rest, like a dog would rest on your lap, and kind of check you out and have a bit play around with you.
It is, however, critical to retain respect for the animals. Responsible behavior around them is written into the law.
I mean, it's very tempting to treat the seals as if they're dogs because they act so similar to dogs, they look similar to dogs. So I think a lot of divers kind of fall into the trap where they get a little bit too familiar with the seals, so you'll see them stroking them and hugging them and stuff, and we try and teach our divers that that's not really acceptable because it is a wild animal.
Emery and Learwood left their diving school on a paradise island in Malaysia 4 years ago to devote themselves to protecting the marine ecosystem in their native northern England. They regularly clear up rubbish from the sea and spend time educating people about recycling. Due to its beauty and species diversity, Northumberland's coast is specially protected. And the gray seals love the craggy, jagged coastline here too. Wherever they go, from the Atlantic to the North Sea or the German Wattenmeer, they seek out remote spots where they won't be disturbed. They follow the rhythm of the tides, hunting at high tide and resting on sandy beaches when the tide goes out. Helgoland lies 620 kilometers from England's coast. The waters around the island make up the state of Schleswig-Holstein's largest nature reserve. Its rocky tidal flats are home to the greatest plant and species diversity in German waters.
Enjoy $3.60 lattes each Thursday this summer at Capital One Cafe.
Say you get a surf shack on Airbnb. Now you can also get a surf lesson with a pro surfer. Or if you get a place in Mexico City, you can also get a taco tasting.
It really is just a little island. And it is much visited, both by humans and animals, which mostly goes off without a hitch. The only problem is that lots of humans think the animals are semi-tame, a population that is always here and is used to humans. As a result, they can get a bit too bold and get right up close to the animals. And the thing is, they're wrong. These are wild animals, and you just don't know what you're dealing with. Is the animal in a good mood? Are they feeling well or under the weather? Are you the 500th person that day who has got on their nerves? And are they finally going to lose it? You just don't know. All we ask is for a bit of respect and common sense.
Yeah.
Hey.
Each year, a team of rangers and volunteers builds a fence to keep the tourists and seals separate for the safety of the humans. During the summer, up to 3,000 guests can visit the islands every day, and they often underestimate these cute-looking animals.
Yeah, I want to change my noise when I hit things.
Dune was once a part of the main island, but broke off 300 years ago. The seals love the miniature island with its sandy beaches and protective dunes. The bigger and more lively main island can only be reached by ferry. Uta Pausch's next job has come in.
The ferry staff let us know that a seal was on the quay over there and that it wasn't moving. And so I have come to check what is up, if it is just having a nap and will swim off in a second, or if it is dead.
Dead seals can give good indications about the health of the ecosystem and the population.
Now that I can see up close, it is a young female, 2 to 3 years old. The teeth seem to suggest closer to 3. The carcass is, however, not very fresh and has already swollen up quite a bit. It's not possible to work out what it died from here. It's been dead too long. You can tell that by the smell. And yes, we will get it off here now. A little critter has been washed up on the quay. Can you get it off?
To work out how it died, the seal will be sent to the mainland. Stralsund on the Baltic is one of the places that performs post-mortems on the animals.
Ugh. Doing bad there.
Linda Westphal and her team dissect dead marine mammals from across the Baltic.
We dissect common seals, gray seals, and porpoises which have been washed up on our shores.
Oh yeah.
Have we done photos from above yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, could you take the photos and I'll put the ruler next to it? Out in the field, we can observe animals from a distance, but we only get a sense of a very small part of their lives. Here, dead on the slab in front of us, we can get so much more information about them. And this also allows us to draw conclusions about the health of the whole population on our coastlines.
I want another click, but I want maybe like a switch, static switching, yeah. Skip that.
This isn't any move. It's your third. No, make that fourth. That's.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
millimeters, 2.1 centimeters. .1 meter.
Okay, I need to get rid of the shoot sounds.
Fur is beginning to come off in large chunks. Airway clear. Teat OBB.
That's so much cleaner.
You could also write down that the claws have been heavily worn down, blunted. What we can also see here is that the spine is poking out and the pelvic bones too. This means it is undernourished. But we think it also had some kind of other illness too.
Around 100,000 gray seals lived along the Baltic coast once. But thanks to hunting and environmental damage, the total sank to around 1,500 animals.
Restart.
What really worries us is how many seals we think are caught by fishermen as bycatch. In 2017, 23 gray seal males were washed up on the island of Rügen's southeastern coast. And this was at exactly the same time that a big fishing boat, which was using traps, was working just off the same beach.
Nowadays, fishermen in the Greifswald Lagoon have to set the entries to their traps to be small enough that even young seals can't get in. This has at least got rid of one danger for them. But fishing nets represent a permanent hazard. When they are out in the water, the seals swim straight into the nets and can't get themselves out alone. The thread digs further and further into their skin and can even lead to an extremely painful death. Fish is the dish of choice for gray seals, but exactly what kind depends on where they are. In the southern Baltic, they eat herring and cod. Gray seals can eat up to 10 kilograms of fish a day. In order to find enough prey, they have a special adaptation. They can store oxygen in their muscles and their blood. This means that they can spend up to 30 minutes hunting underwater without having to come up for air. But life underwater is becoming more dangerous. The pollution of our oceans is an ever bigger problem for gray seals. They absorb pollutants from their prey or from the water and become more susceptible to disease. In England, Nick Emery and James Learwood are running one of their ocean cleanups today.
This is Knacker Hole, so one the dive sites will come to and do lots of cleanups. Got that deep channel, so the big high tide kind of brings everything in, and then when the tide goes out, the rocks kind of hold everything in again.
I'm not getting there. I'm just not getting there at all. Like it's been rough.
So
it has been
obviously
rough.
as divers, we can help tackle the
Okay,
problem
let me
in the
try,
water
like,
and bring the rubbish out. But what we really need to do is try and stop the problem in the first place, and then that comes, you know.
Comes from the manufacturers, doesn't it?
It comes from the manufacturers, it comes from the policies of the local council, you know, it comes from the attitude of people who visit here. So that is a much bigger problem to tackle than what we can do underwater.
The young environmentalists also get involved at the grassroots, giving online courses on the protection of coral reefs or teaching divers to become underwater scientists.
I know that just that little bit that I can do every time I come here, it is helping to protect the marine life that lives here, and it is like making the future more sustainable as well, so I'm protecting the ocean in the future as well. So I do it for the marine life, really.
Ooh, high fucking score. I don't even know if that was in a Fox. Yeah, that was the difference between Below and Fox. That's actually huge. Let's go.
Excuse me, sir, how old were you when you made your first million?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the
Get out of your head.
generation.
I made my first
It is not only fishing nets which represent a danger to seals. Discarded plastic can wrap around their heads or flippers and strangle them. Smaller bits of plastic or bags can get into their stomach and cause them to get sick or starve.
It is a massive problem all over the world, and Northumberland is no different. There's a global effort to try and reduce the amount of marine debris that we find in the ocean. So,
And with the kids, it's they learn about so much of it at school now, so they're just keen to get involved in activities and stuff. So we've got quite a lot of young ones who are just mad keen to help out and clean up as much rubbish as they can.
anything that we can pick up, as long as it stops it from impacting the beautiful wildlife that we have around here, then it's got to be a good thing.
Yep.
The Greifswald Lagoon is the gray seal's favorite hunting ground in the German Baltic. And the protected areas around the bay allow seal mothers to give birth to their pups in safety. Linda Westphal has set off from Rügen and is counting gray seals from the air. Flights like this are a big part of her job.
When we do these
No,
flights
whoa,
to count
so
the population, we can fly almost the length of the Mecklenburg-Vorpommern coast and see if we can see any seals on the water near the shore.
Nowadays, more than 38,000 gray seals are estimated to be in the Baltic as a whole. International teamwork between scientists has meant that a series of successful measures have been brought in to protect them. For most beach tourists and nature lovers, this is good news. Only the fishermen in the lagoon are not as pleased because they think the seals often steal the catch out of their nets. The island Greifswalder Oy is only around half a square kilometer in size, but is nevertheless one of the
Yes,
seals
10 whole points better.
to bass
Next
along
rank.
the German Baltic
Bang
coast.
it. Bang it.
Every year, it gets more
That was so
and more
good.
popular.
That was literally so good. That was insane. Oh, that was insane.
There are a few seals sheltering from the wind on the east of the island. At first glance, I can't see any in the northern part of the bay on the east, but we will see later when we look at the photos if any are hiding away.
Jutting out of the flat waters around the island are a series of rocks. These offer a perfect place for the seals to relax and recover on dry land. Georg Ruppel is an ornithologist and lives on Oy all year round. He is the director of the biological center here and also keeps an eye on the seals, helping Linda Westphal monitor the population.
Oh, I'm so happy I got fucking mammoth on this. Oh, god damn.
This is a good spot to watch the rocks where the
I mean, look
seals
at
tend to
the
bask.
all
There are at
ranks.
least 10 out there on the rocks at the moment. If you look for a while, you also see more of them swimming nearby, where a little nose pops out. So yeah, it really is
so
true.
many
The longer you
heads
stand
on the
here, the more you
left.
see. It is always worth spending a bit
Knock
more
'em
time at
down.
a particular point and watching.
I mean, probably knock out the blues on the right.
They can also
Too.
rest in the water.
Yeah, wow, really getting up
looking
there.
upwards
Fuck.
and relaxing in the water. They do that too, but they really like lying on the rocks. You can quite often see them squabbling for the best spots.
As an ornithologist, Georg Ruppel's main focus is on birds, and he looks after the ringing station on the island. 45 different species have been counted on this small rock in the sea.
Okay.
The seals and birds also share the protected space of Oy with dormice, fish otters, and bats.
I'm gonna try some static switching. This looks easy to get up into mammoth.
Ruppel enjoys the peace and quiet of his unusual home.
Yeah, an island like this is obviously a special place to work. You have to cut wood and set a fire if you want to have a bit of warmth at home. You're really on your own and have to do everything yourself. But there is something liberating in that. It's, yeah, a kind of liberation from the excess you get on the mainland.
Oh, you could say that I'm looking like a snack.
Me too. Want it?
107. Wow, I tied my score.
Now we gotta go help people customize
Okay.
and save hundreds at Liberty Mutual.
I just need one and more for the next thing. So yeah, we're definitely gonna get this.
Because of its geographical position, Greifswalder Oy is also an important stopover for migratory birds. Up to 220 species are seen here every year. Ruppel records and categorizes the birds.
These little willow warblers which we catch here weigh 7 to 8 grams and yet travel thousands of kilometers every year. It's pretty impressive.
The little island and its surrounding waters are an official nature reserve and only open to restricted public access. A maximum of 50 people is allowed onto the island every day. A steam ferry brings the visitors the 15 kilometers from Peenemünde. Linda Westphal is on board today.
One worse. I'm definitely gonna get Mammoth on this. I just need 2 better than I did there, 1 better than the first time.
We have arrived at the island. Enjoy your shore leave, but we are heading back no later than 1:30.
The small island lies right on the boundary between the Greifswalder Lagoon and the open sea of the Baltic, but despite that, conditions are often calm here.
We have perfect conditions for seals today. There's almost no wind, the sea is flat as a pancake, and there are lots of seals out there.
107, I tied it again.
We will get really good numbers today. Being outside, watching the seals here, that's obviously one of the highlights of my job. I obviously also enjoy analyzing the data and putting it to use in order to do my bit to protect the Baltic seals, but being out here is the best part of my job, and it's obvious why. Hello, Georg.
Good to see you.
A 1.5 kilometer footpath runs from the harbor on the island's southern tip to the lighthouse at its north.
Yes. Hole 7. Beat it by hole 7. Put a whole stack on it. Put a rack on it. Sign me up.
Because of their unique fur patterns, each gray seal
I literally just jumped a whole category on what was that, static switching? That is the only seal I can see. That is the only seal that I got seal on flower, but I have no other orca score, I don't think.
22, 23, 24.
Yeah, first orca score other than the one I got higher than orca. That's actually huge. Oh my god. Oh.
We have a lot of really beautifully marked seals lying here. There are also 2 or 3 pregnant mothers.
Flooding head's easier
we
viscous. This
cannot
seems
just identify
nice.
them quickly here. We take our photos back to the office, analyze them, and see if we've seen these animals before.
Seals only spend 1/5 of their lives on their home beaches, where they give birth to their pups. The Greifswald Oy is therefore mainly used as a place to rest between hunting trips.
Seals have 2 main activities a day. There is the time they spend hunting and being active. And then there's the time they digest, relax, and wait for their stomachs to feel empty before setting off on a hunt again. Right now, we can see lots of them relaxing, and we can hear how they are bickering a bit over the best spots. Yeah, I think today will be a very relaxed day for the seals.
These active animals have earned it.
Okay. Okay. I was like 60, 70, 60 short of my high score. Okay. I just gotta lock in.
Important information about the seals and their behavior.
Getting numbers of over 100 seals here in winter is a new phenomenon from the last 3 or 4 years. And what we have now seen is that animals are growing up to experience their change of coat here, and that we have seen the first births on our coast. Even in the middle of winter, we see youngsters relaxing here, and that is a very, very positive signal.
Ugh, this is a scary spot to be in. I don't know if I might be able to finish with a high score, but I don't know.
The seal population on the northern English coast is much bigger than that in the Baltic.
Nah.
This is one reason
Chop
why Nick
liver.
Emery and James Learwood came here after leaving their diving school in Paradise to set up an environmentally aware school here in their home in Northumberland. They go diving with the seals often to observe them. They often take their students or tourists with them, and they put a lot of effort into explaining how to behave responsibly among the animals in the water.
We're so lucky to have the Farne Islands like literally on our doorstep. So it's easy for us to come up here all the time. And you know, it's only an hour away from this. So it's such a cool place that I want to spend all the time up here because it's like one of my favourite places to come.
Yeah, it's a top diving site, probably in Europe, if not the world.
Yeah.
So we're just lucky that we're so close to it. The older ones generally just kind of chill on the bottom. They might take a look at you and swim away, or might even just ignore you.
Like the big males, they're big. They're like bigger than me. Yeah, so you see them sleeping on the bottom and it's okay, I'm just going to keep my distance from you.
Yeah, but you never really know if you're going to encounter a seal, so I always go down hoping that I'll see them.
Yeah.
But if it's not my day to see them, well, it's not my day.
Because gray seals investigate things with their mouths and whiskers, they sometimes come very close.
This is hard. This is flipping hard.
On the land, it's a different matter.
So I lose points when I miss. I'm trying really hard not to miss.
There's a few characters that'll always come play where you pull.
I said that and then start whiffing.
It's usually the younger ones as well.
You definitely feel a connection with them, even if you don't know them. You definitely feel a connection with them.
The water temperature here rarely goes above 14 degrees. This isn't a problem for the seals, however, as they prefer cooler water.
So close. Literally 17 points. That's 2 balls away from Fox.
After about an hour, they are out of oxygen and the dive comes to an end.
Around and then you have the seals playing where you don't want to come up.
So I was telling Nick, "Oh, take a kebab." And she's like, "Oh no, I want to stay
I was like, no, I don't want it.
You just forget everything.
It makes me feel like I want to just go home and snuggle under the duvet and have a beer. That's what it makes me feel.
The number of gray seals in the Baltic and North Seas is rising again. But fishing and pollution remain major problems. Nearly extinct once, the gray seal is back. It is up to us to make sure we protect them as they migrate and play in our oceans in the future.
No, I did bad.
Say you get a surf shack on Airbnb.
I've cleaned the kitchen because I was expecting her to show up randomly in the mail. I've left such a mess. My head feels a little better. Yeah, I feel like sometimes cleaning will just make your head feel better. You know what I mean? Like, I cleaned before I did the second stream today, and it certainly made my head feel better. I was feeling like $1 million after I cleaned. It was pretty sick. Yeah. Very much indeed. Do I have any more? No, I don't have more coffee left. Great. I really want to get this. I mean, this should logically be easy to hit because I've got 785. I hit just a second ago like 782, and all I need is 790 to get the Fox up. So, oh, why is my sound off? Okay, there's the video.
A battle cry rings out across the Antarctic islands. These are the titans of the Southern Ocean. 4 tons of raw sexual aggression, battling for the beach. Southern elephant seal males fight for dominance and to protect their hard-won harems, which can consist of 150 females or more. Fights between dominant males and challengers can be long, bloody, and extremely violent, with the loser often suffering serious injury or even
Scary
death.
seal.
But the rewards can be great. The highest-ranking males may father up to 500 pups in their lifetime. But the journey to becoming a so-called beach master is fraught with difficulty, because these behemoths don't start their lives being so formidable. Life is hard for the youngest elephant seals, and sometimes they take an unusual path. In October 2020, researchers came across a baby southern elephant seal in Salem Bay in Tasmania, an extraordinarily rare occurrence ever since humans decimated their population there from hunting. Today, the closest breeding colony to Tasmania is some 1,500 kilometers away close to Antarctica. The pup they discovered was just one of 5 pups known to have been successfully weaned on Tasmania in the last 40 years. The pup eventually grew up and swam off into the ocean, and researchers thought that might be the last they see of him. But southern elephant seals have a strong attachment to the area where they were born, and once a year they come ashore. And so in July 2021, the rare young seal reappeared, and this time he was ready for chaos. Meet Neil the Seal, a lovable doofus known for getting into fights with orange traffic cones, barring people's access to their cars, and trying to break into garages.
Neil, don't even think about it.
He's gone from a wide-eyed pup to a large juvenile, and the growing has only just begun. Scientists from the Marine Conservation Program decided to relocate him away from this highly populated area, but that didn't stop Neil from returning to more human habitats in 2022, and 2023, and 2024.
You can't keep doing this. Neil, you need to be quiet. You've had me up since 3 o'clock. You broke the garage again.
And this could become a problem for the humans in contact with
No!
Neil.
No! I had it! I had it! I had it! I whiffed! I had it! I whiffed! Get him, Neil! I want to be Neil. I want to be you, Neil.
Despite looking like clumsy blobs of jello, southern elephant seals are anything but. They are absolutely enormous, crushing machines. And they're super adapted diving machines, diving deeper than almost any other mammal on Earth. And being a male often means being a valiant warrior, engaging in those brutal fights for dominance. Some of their anatomical features are truly
How does it
bizarre,
dive deeper than a
from their
whale? It
enormous
said it dive
proboscis
deeper
from
than
which
all
they
other
got their
mammals.
name, to the total shedding of their fur and skin every year. And their social system and breeding lives
I don't
are
think I'm gonna
among
get
the
this one.
most
I hate this
extreme
one.
and most brutal in the animal kingdom. For now, Neil seems determined to hang out with the humans. But if Neil manages to make it to adulthood, he might just end up being a beachmaster, siring hundreds of pups. But he's got a long road ahead of him, with plenty of obstacles. When you think of the largest members of the carnivora order, your mind might go to a wolf, or maybe a tiger, or maybe a grizzly or polar bear. These are formidable animals indeed, but none are even close to the size of the largest of the carnivora order, the southern elephant seal. The largest female ever found was 1,000 kilograms or 2,200 pounds, and 3.7 meters or 12 feet long. But this pales in comparison to the largest male ever found, which was 6.85 meters or 22.5 feet long and was estimated to weigh 5,000 kilograms or 11,000 pounds. The southern elephant seal is the larger of the two species of elephant seals. A bull southern elephant seal is about 40% heavier than a northern elephant seal. These giants are the largest marine mammals outside of the cetaceans, and are twice as heavy as a walrus and 7 times as heavy as a polar bear. And the reason for their enormous size is for males to fend off mating rivals. And while necessary for mating, the size of these giants can pose a great threat to other seals in their colony, notably the babies. Early in their lives, southern elephant seals face the greatest threats: that they'll starve once they're weaned off milk, that they'll get eaten by a bigger predator the first time they go for a swim, or that they'll be squashed by a giant male. The on-land mortality for newly weaned pups is between 2 and 10%. But things get much dicier when they first dive into the water. Only 30 to 40% of seals survive their first dive, with the majority getting picked off by orcas or sharks. Considering all these early obstacles, it's a bit of a miracle that Neil made it back onto land in Tasmania. That said, southern elephant seals are made for water. Though they may look like awkward blobs on land, their bodies are incredibly well adapted for the sea. A layer of blubber keeps them warm in the waters around Antarctica. Their bodies are streamlined for cutting through the water, and their fins help propel them without expending too much energy. They are open ocean predators who spend most of their time at sea. When they're not mating or molting, they have to be constantly hunting in order to pack on the pounds. They can eat anywhere from 4.8 to 16 kilograms of fish and squid per day. But to get so large, these seals hunt for the biggest fish and squid they can find. And these types of large fish are not readily available in shallow water. They have to go deeper than almost any other animal to find them. Southern elephant seals are the deepest diving seals and some of the deepest diving mammals, period. They've been recorded going as deep as 2,388 meters down and staying submerged for 2 hours. For comparison, this is about the same as a sperm whale and comes second only to the Cuvier's beaked whale, the mammal that's thought to be the world's deepest diver. Once at depth, elephant seals mostly locate their prey using vision, sometimes using the bioluminescence of their prey to hone in on them. Elephant seals don't have a developed system of echolocation like whales and dolphins do, but their facial whiskers are sensitive to vibrations and are assumed to play a role in the search for food. But how does this blob of a beast dive so deep at all? Sinking is indeed a challenge for something so blubbery. They have to propel themselves downward with their fins until negative buoyancy takes over. But another pressing question is, how do they dive so unbelievably frequently? For how deep they're diving, scientists hypothesized that they'd need a long recovery period at the surface between dives, for two reasons. One, to stay within their aerobic limit.
Okay.
And
That's
two,
really
to ward
close. I
off
need that.
decompression sickness. But one elephant seal being monitored by scientists stayed at the surface for only 2.5 minutes after a 2-hour dive. It dove right back down again with seemingly no problem. In the same study, another seal who was monitored for more than 40 days spent no longer than 6 minutes at the surface at any given time. From a fatigue standpoint, this is impressive enough. I know after I've been freediving down while snorkeling, I need a solid amount of time to recover and catch my breath again. But from a decompression standpoint, this is even more impressive. For a long time, it was believed that marine mammals can't get decompression sickness. Humans often suffer this affliction after scuba diving, where we breathe compressed air underwater for a long period. Under increased pressure underwater, the inert gas nitrogen that we breathe from the tank has a chance to dissolve into our tissues. When we ascend from the dive, the dissolved and harmless nitrogen in the bloodstream turns into dangerous bubbles, and at that point, we get the bends. Marine mammals, on the other hand, are diving from a single breath hold, not from a tank of air. So the volume of inert gas within their bodies under pressure is inherently less than a scuba diver's. And this does mean marine mammals don't get the bends very easily. But decompression stress can and does happen. Scientists investigated recently stranded beaked whales and found substantial nitrogen bubbles in their tissues that decomposition alone couldn't explain. In addition, scientists have found damage to sperm whale bone tissue, which they attribute to repetitive decompression stress. Humans avoid this stress by not diving too deep, ascending slowly, and by staying at the surface between dives for a precisely calculated and sometimes lengthy amount of time.
I love this ad. Oh, jets! My mom said she will buy good dinner if I cook it, so that's what I'm gonna do, going to the store. I love that! Yay, good dinner! Good dinner. Good dinner. Indeed, hopefully steak. I know that you like it a steak. Steak.
Imagine you're about to dive down to retrieve something that you know is pretty deep. What do you do before diving down? Probably take the biggest breath you can, stocking up on as much oxygen as possible. But this is not at all the strategy that elephant seals employ. Before their mind-bending deep dives, they breathe out everything from their lungs. By doing so, they are getting rid of as much nitrogen as possible, minimizing their risk of decompression injury. But aren't they also getting rid of all their oxygen? Not exactly, because the precious oxygen that they'll need for their dive is not stored in their lungs, but in their red blood cells and muscles. And they have a lot of blood, twice as much as humans relative to their size, meaning that even if humans were exactly the same size as the seals, they'd still have twice as much as us. And their muscles can store and bind 3 times more oxygen than human muscle, thanks to high quantities of myoglobin. Their bodies also undergo a dive response, with blood being shunted away from the extremities and
99.
the heart and brain.
Oh my
Their
god!
heart rate can even drop
I'm gonna get
to
it.
2 beats per minute.
I'm gonna get 1 of 6.
And as an elephant seal dives deeper and deeper, their lungs collapse. This forces air into the trachea and prevents gas exchange between the lungs and blood, further helping to prevent decompression illness. And while helpful for diving deep, this could be a problem when coming back up. If the lung tissue sticks in on itself, the lungs might not be able to reinflate. But elephant seals have another weird trick up their sleeves, or rather trick up their lungs. If you're ever in a position to see an elephant seal sneeze, you'll see a gross, bright white fluid come out of their nose. This is pulmonary surfactant, All mammals have pulmonary surfactant to help them breathe. It reduces surface tension at the alveoli, helping oxygen in gas form enter the liquid environment of the bloodstream. But in elephant seals, it plays a secondary function. It acts as an anti-adhesive, making their rapid ascents and rapid re-expansion of the lungs possible.
Called my shot.
But even with all of these factors, southern elephant seal dives
It made me feel good. I love red meats. I want to keep napping, but low key, I'm wide awake.
For it all to be done with aerobic respiration.
Yeah, a little nap will do that to you.
Thought surely there just can't.
Yeah, you're gonna learn hella seal facts, aren't you? Isn't this nuts?
The aerobic dive limit is defined as the longest dive that an air-breathing animal can make while relying on oxygen stored in the lungs, blood, and muscles to maintain aerobic metabolism. With such long dives and with such short surface intervals, it looks like elephant seals constantly exceed their aerobic dive limit, meaning they should be entering anaerobic
Seal's basically
respiration
goated
regularly.
creature. That's what I'm learning.
This might sound like we're talking about the seal's breathing, but aerobic and anaerobic
Isn't it?
respiration are actually chemical reactions taking place within the cells. so they
Learn
are
seal.
making energy for the
Become
body.
seal.
In aerobic respiration, oxygen and glucose make energy available to the cell in the form of ATP, producing carbon dioxide and water as the byproducts. In anaerobic respiration, there is no oxygen, so the cell generates ATP through a lactate dehydrogenase reaction. Anaerobic respiration is way less efficient, but can help animals in a pinch. So the question with these deep diving elephant seals remains: how do they manage to stay in aerobic respiration for so long? Nobody really knows. Scientists think that in order for the seals to dive for 50 to 60 to 120 minutes and maintain aerobic respiration, they'd have to reduce their metabolic rate to 50%. Meaning their cells would have to be doing half as much respiration as normal. And we just don't know how they do this. Maybe they shut down certain organs like the kidney and the liver, but they can't turn off their stomach or digestive system because during these months at sea, southern elephant seals are trying to gain a ton of weight. And they aren't simply getting fat for the sake of it. They're preparing to come ashore for mating season, during which they go months without eating, and every pound could help towards a victory in a battle for the beach. Male and female elephant seals have quite different life experiences, starting from the time they're juveniles all the way through adulthood. It takes female seals 3 to 4 years to reach sexual maturity, at which point they can begin breeding. It takes 5 to 6 years for males to reach sexual maturity, but their social maturity comes much later. They're not likely to start breeding until they're 10, almost halfway through their life.
I did 95 on 100. Months without eating is crazy to me. Yeah, I heard him say that. Like, what on earth do you mean the seal goes months without eating on the beach? Yeah, it is crazy that we can do that too, technically.
And then, most males are unlikely to be successful at reproducing. Southern elephant seals are the most sexually dimorphic of any mammal species, meaning they have the greatest size difference between males and females. Males continue growing throughout their lives, and they tend to forage in different habitats than females, where there's a higher risk of predation by orcas and sleeper sharks, but also more food. And the males need to take that risk, because they must get as big as possible. Only the very largest and most aggressive males become beach masters, the enormous alpha males who can have a harem of hundreds of female seals. The mating season starts with the males coming ashore first, usually returning to the place they were born. Depending on which mating colony they belong to, they haul out around August or September and begin fighting for territory.
Yeah, we don't feel very good. Meanwhile, the seal literally is mating with hundreds and hundreds of other seals and not eating for months at a time.
Just to the males. And it's something that's been commented on by scientists for more than 100 years. going all the way back to Charles Darwin, who described it as an appendage that becomes greatly elongated during the breeding season and can then be erected. In this state, it's sometimes a foot in length. As Darwin noted, the proboscis gets larger during the mating season for several specific reasons. First, it helps provide a visual signifier. I'm big, don't mess with me. But it also contributes to the seal's vocalizations. Before the males ever think about engaging in physical confrontations, they roar at each other. The proboscis increases the length of the vocal tract, which changes the sound and may make the seal sound even larger than its actual size. And bigger, older males are much more likely to be successful beachmasters. So when a young, smaller male hears the call of an older male, he's more likely to back down without a fight. But if two competitors are more or less the same size, they start fighting physically. They have huge lower canine teeth and will start smashing into each other's heads and biting. Remember this video of Neil making himself tall? It's actually him practicing that fighting behavior that might one day help him become a beachmaster. Most of the fights end before either seal is injured severely enough to cause death, but rarely the fight will be violent enough to kill one of the males. And if they don't die, the losers can either wander over to another part of the beach and look for someone else to challenge, or they can give up. That seems to be what happens for the vast majority of males, because only about 1% are responsible for 85 to 90% of all successful inseminations. Then, once the males have secured their territory, they wait for the females to haul out. But the mating doesn't start right away. First, the females give birth to the pups they've been gestating since the last mating season. Then they feed milk to their new pup for about 24 days. It's only after all of this has happened that the males start mating with the females they've defended. They can be aggressive and overeager with the females, and sometimes this results in pups getting crushed. For the more than 2 months that males are on shore, and just over a month that females are there, neither eat anything. Only the new pups are gaining weight. All adults are losing weight at a remarkable pace. For the males, they end up losing about 40% of their body mass, or 12 kilograms every day. The females lose about 35% of their body mass. This might sound surprising because the females are the ones feeding the new pup. But remember that males spend about a month longer on shore not eating, while they wait for the females to arrive. As soon as the breeding season is over, the adults get back into the water, ready for food, while the young are on their own to figure out hunting and staying alive. But this foraging period is a short one, because there's one more haul out for the adults and juveniles alike. And this time, it's for the catastrophic molt. Maybe you've seen some of the videos of Neil in people's yards where he's looking a bit scraggly. I know the first time I saw it, I wondered what was going on and if Neil was okay. But the peeling going on around his body is a totally normal part of the southern elephant seal life cycle. It's called the catastrophic molt, and occurs a few months after the breeding season when the seals have had a chance to catch some food and put on a bit more weight. Molting is extremely demanding. The seals lose both their fur and the upper layer of their skin. On the simplest level, molting is when animals shed their skin, fur, or feathers. This can happen due to changing seasons, like when cats shed their winter fur in the spring. Or it can be because the animals are growing larger, as with snakes and lizards who shed all the skin from their body at once. Even humans have a less dramatic version of this. We shed skin cells all the time, as old pieces of the epidermis are replaced by new ones. Going back to the elephant seals, their epidermis has 3 layers. It's this top layer of cornified epidermis that the seals lose, along with their fur. And shedding it is such an energetically costly process that the seal's metabolism ramps up 2 or 3 times its normal rate. Pretty inconvenient, since they're stuck on land and away from food when it happens. But elephant seals aren't shedding their skin to emerge in a bigger body like snakes do, and so shedding all that skin at once seems extreme. So why do they do it, and why do they have to undergo this process once a year, every year? It's because of their watery lifestyle. During the rest of the year, while they're hunting in the water, blood is moved away from their skin to provide oxygen to their organs and keep the rest of their body warm. In order to have the necessary blood flow to their skin to trigger a molt, they have to be on land, away from the cold water. So instead of flaking off bits of skin...
So literally, your trade-off as a seal is you can dive super deep without having any water, any air in your lungs, but you shed all of your skin and hair every year. That's seal life for you. Forgot to play the video.
All the time, the way humans do, the seals shed everything in one go on land when they won't freeze to death doing so. It's also thought that the catastrophic molt in southern elephant seals could help them get rid of contaminants that build up in their bodies, mercury from the fish they eat, which is a pretty cool trick if that's how it works. But the molt seems to be an all-around uncomfortable process. The seals have a harder time with thermoregulation, sometimes getting too hot and slipping into the water to cool off, but sometimes getting too cold and needing to huddle together in large congregations to share body heat. They also might scratch themselves or throw sand on their bodies to help with the temperature problem. And for a long time, researchers thought the seals were going hungry during this whole process. After all, females tend to lose around 150 kilograms during this 1-month molt period. But a brand new study found that some of these seals actually are eating. Researchers equipped female elephant seals with time depth recorders to monitor their dives, and stomach temperature pills that show when the temperature changes if seals are eating or drinking. And they found that about half of the females in their study performed several dives, and most of them ingested prey during the molt. The seals were pretty choosy about which days they went diving. When there was less wind and higher air temperature, they were more likely to go for a swim. Which makes sense considering they probably got chilly pretty quickly. And hunting for a little snack while molting also seemed to pay off. The more the females dove and ate, the less mass they lost during the molt. So maybe sometimes the molt isn't the worst thing ever, but it sure looks itchy, especially if you're not going for regular swims. Maybe that's why Neil has tried to break into so many people's garages. He's uncomfortable and a little hangry. Whether Neil will become one of the beach masters who gets to mate with dozens or hundreds of females remains to be seen. When it comes to courtship, we can't all be so lucky as to look like this. And beating up all the other competitors for partners is generally frowned upon in our society. So without these magnificent gargantuan battle bodies, us humans unfortunately have to do something else to win over our partners.
This isolated island out in the middle of nowhere, free from human disturbance and land predators, makes it the ideal haul-out site for one of the Salish Sea's most common, yet also underappreciated marine mammals, the harbor seal. Happy birthday, baby harbor seal. This little pup was born just moments ago. She instinctively knows how to swim, using the classic wiggle wiggle seal stroke.
Baby seal!
A newborn harbor seal is one of the fattest babies on Earth, born with enough blubber to survive a dunk in this cold water. But she's totally dependent on mom for food, and when her tiny flippers get tired, for piggyback rides around the rookery. This precocious pup is already able to follow mom on short dives, showing off some of the remarkable skills that make harbor seals the most successful of the 33 species of flipper-footed mammals, the seals, sea lions, and walrus, which scientists call pinnipeds. Before the new pup gets too chilled, mom leads her back to the beach to warm her up and have her first meal. Pinnipeds produce the world's highest energy. This suckling pup's 6 to 8 meals a day are 50% fat. Compare that to human and cow's milk.
I'm gonna get this high score. I heard some weird behind me.
In just 3 to 4 weeks, our pup will double her weight to around 50 pounds. She needs to pack it on fast as possible because mom will only feed her for about a month. After that, she's on her own, and she'll need to draw on the calories stockpiled in her blubber until she gets good at hunting fish. For young seals, it's survival of the fattest. For the short time they are with their pups, harbor seals are attentive mothers. Like our own moms, pregnant seals produce a flush of oxytocin, a hormone that aids in birth and bonding. Research on closely related gray seals shows that females with higher levels of oxytocin snuggle closer to their pups, likely increasing their chances during this most vulnerable time. Unlike their much larger cousins, the elephant seals, harbor seals can't store enough energy to make it through birthing and nursing a pup without feeding. So mom will occasionally leave her baby behind to go out fishing for herself. When she returns, she faithfully finds her pup, even in a crowded haul out, because she's memorized its unique scent and voice. Once the pup starts bulking up and gaining confidence, mom lets her splash around in baby pools with other kids from the haul out. It's while playing here and by following mom on short foraging trips that our pup learns to be a seal. She grows stronger each day and builds up the ability to store large amounts of oxygen in her blood.
That's what we're
muscles,
doing right now. We're
which will
learning to be a
ultimately
seal.
Enable her to dive well over 1,500 feet deep and hold her breath for half an hour. It's time for the month-old pup to spread her flippers and fly solo.
Oh, those really close.
We
200
call
short
these
out of
newly weaned
3,000.
youngsters Wieners.
Oh,
Chances
yeah.
are she won't move very far and might even spend her entire life around the same haul out where she was born. But there would be no more free meals on mom. Fortunately, Mother Nature has given the pup an incredible set of tools designed for the unique lifestyle of an amphibious mammal. Let's take a deeper look.
What a scary
So
noise.
how does a harbor seal get a head in this world? These specimens from the Sea Dock Society Museum tell us a lot about the animals they came from, and they're also going to show us how the harbor seal is supremely adapted to a life half underwater and half on land. Let's start with the eyes. This harbor seal was about half my size, but look at how gigantic the eye sockets are. Harbor seals' eyeballs are about twice the size of a human's. Their eyes are packed with rod cells, making them extremely good at seeing in the low light situations they find deep beneath our sometimes murky water. Humans are built to stand upright and to look straight forward, but the position of the harbor seal's eyes enable it to see to the side and above. This works great when they're swimming and they can look up to see schools of prey silhouetted against the bright surface. But what about when they're on top, getting a breath? No problem. This is why you see them swimming on their back or rolling over to dive. They're looking for prey beneath them. When we dive without a mask, everything is blurry. Seals fix that by having eyes that are like the dome port of an underwater camera. Teeth can tell us a lot about an animal's lifestyle. This is an African lion. The most obvious teeth are these gigantic canines, the fangs. They use these to catch and to kill large prey, and also to fight. Our harbor seal has canines, but in proportion, they're much smaller, which makes sense for its lifestyle. But check this out. This is a Steller sea lion. In the Steller Sea, Stellers have basically the same diet as a harbor seal. So why do they need such gigantic canines? The answer lies in the difference in their reproductive strategies. Harbor seal males and females are close to the same size, with boys only 20 to 30% larger than girls. But Steller sea lion males are 300% bigger than Steller females. They grow that large because their mating style is for males to fight each other over harems of females. Harbor seal males don't need giant canines because they're a bit more mellow. They still do battle, but it's usually more like a dance-off combined with a water aerobic splash fight. Males pick a territory and then display their fitness by doing breaches and acrobatic flips, slapping the surface with their back flippers. They also blow bubbles, growl, and roar underwater, all to attract females and intimidate rivals. Instead of external ear flaps, harbor seals only have small holes on their side of their heads. Does that mean they're deaf? Nope. This is evolution making them more hydrodynamic, like whales and dolphins. Harbor seals hear fine on land. During dives, they close their ear openings, but they can hear even better underwater. Along with listening for other seals and for the seal-eating type of killer whales, researchers believe harbor seals use their ears underwater for hunting. Herring are one of the seal's favorite foods. And this forage fish has a distinctive way of communicating with their schoolmates, making high-frequency sounds by blowing bubbles out their backsides. That's right, harbor seals are probably tuning in to the sound of fish farts. And maybe they're giggling. Harbor seals also have another sense.
No, I was so
their
close.
Secret weapon,
Oh,
a real super spidey
100
sense
short.
that enables them to hunt and catch fish, even in black water in the middle of the night.
These are vibrissae, commonly known as whiskers, but the harbor seal's whiskers are anything but common.
We know that cats' whiskers are highly evolved sensors that can detect air currents, act as tripwires, and allow cats to safely navigate in the dark. Harbor seal whiskers are even better. These vibrissae are so sensitive that a harbor seal can read underwater vibrations like an expert animal tracker. They can even tell the species, size, speed, and direction of fish that swam by 30 seconds ago and are now out of sight. You'd think that when a seal swims fast, its whiskers would wind up plastered to the sides of its face, like our hair when we stick our head out the window of a moving car.
Well, maybe not my hair, but
see those little bumps and waves? Sea lions and walrus whiskers don't have those. Only the harbor seals and their closest cousins do. Those tiny structures allow the vibrissae to slice smoothly through the water instead of being buffeted by the seal's movements as it hunts. This is the magic, because it means that the whiskers can stay focused on the vibrations caused by prey. Like a dog hot on a scent, the seal follows the invisible trail through every twist and turn the fish makes until it catches up, and then chomp. This sense is so amazing that we've seen blind seals surviving just fine, even raising pups. Put all these incredible harbor seal senses and adaptations together, and you can see how our little pup can not only survive on her own, but can grow up to be one of the most awesome animals in the Salish Sea. If she can dodge speeding boats and hungry orcas, she'll start having her own pups in 3 to 4 years and could live to be more than 20. Harbor seals were long hunted sustainably by the Coast Salish for food, medicine, and pelts. European settlers, however, called them nearly out of existence, in part because they saw them as competing with human fisheries. Harbor seals are such an adaptable and resilient species that as soon as they were protected in the 1970s, they bounced back. That's a stark contrast to the other species we've been trying to recover, like some salmon, that unfortunately continue to suffer declines. Salmon are essential to Coast Salish culture, and they're critical to the survival of our fish-eating orcas. In fact, the entire ecosystem needs salmon. We've reached the complicated and controversial point where there's a real concern that harbor seals, still a protected species, might be eating too many endangered salmon. Research is underway to see if pinnipeds need to be managed at places like river mouths, where human disturbances have made salmon very vulnerable to predators. There are natural controls on harbor seals. They're limited by food, including their favorite
Tide.
herring
+2.
and hake.
That's so frustrating. I mean, it's really good, but like, I'm getting better. For mammoth, I need.
They're here to hunt one of their favorite foods,
150 more.
Harbor seals.
Okay.
Another natural control is that not all harbor seal pups survive. Each summer, CDOC and our partners in the Marine Mammal Straining Network respond to hundreds of calls about pups seen alone on the beach. Most of these are just waiting for their mothers to come back from fishing trips. Like this plump puppy, patiently waiting for his mom. Others look so defenseless and impossibly cute that it's tempting to intervene. But their best chance for survival is to give them plenty of room so their moms aren't afraid to come back to care for them. Unfortunately, each year, there are seal pups seriously injured by pet dogs and other human-related impacts that permanently separate them from their mothers. That's when trained personnel bring pups to rehab facilities like SR3 in Seattle and the Vancouver Aquarium. Pups there are nursed on specially formulated sushi smoothies. They're quarantined to make sure they're free of disease. And given
I thought I had it. I
endearing
was cooking. I was cooking.
Rehab professionals then recreate the a natural weaning process as best they can. The Straining Network in these facilities collect medical information on every animal they work on. Harbor seals are sentinels of our ecosystem's health, so they're monitored for pollutants and diseases. In the North Atlantic, off Europe, 2 epidemics of Phocine distemper virus killed more harbor seals than live in the entire Salish Sea. Our cute local seals can also carry several nasty viruses, bacteria, and parasites that can spread to humans, which is another reason why only trained responders are legally permitted to approach stranded marine mammals. The last step in rehab is a veterinary exam. We need to make sure these pups are healthy enough to be released back into the wild, where hopefully their instincts will kick in and they'll thrive. Genetic research shows that harbor seals first evolved right here in our region, the northeastern Pacific. This locally grown species then spread east and west and colonized the North Atlantic Ocean via the Arctic. On the west coast of North America, harbor seals live from Alaska to Mexico.
I beat it by a good bit that
range
time.
Of environments.
That was a whole
Imagine
100
jaguars
points. Wait,
hunting
a
at the
whole
edge
30
of the Arctic
points,
ice
not
cap,
100 points.
Or polar bears basking on the beaches
No,
of
we can do
Baja.
better. We can do better.
Harbor
That was
seals
good.
can do
I'm
both.
feeling it.
They're a fascinating, exceptionally successful species, and we're very lucky to be able to see them year-round in the Salish Sea.
I got a high score run going. Look at that. Safe flight replace. Fuck me for singing an ad. That's just literally, I hate myself.
From Australia's southwest coast comes the tale of a sea lion and the unique animals that share this rugged environment. Spanning 2 worlds, the pup faces threats on the land from his own kind. And in the sea, from monsters of the deep. From helpless pup, reliant on his mother's care, to fully grown male, searching for his own breeding territory.
Oh, 381. Current is 381. Wow, I tied. There's no way I tied on a quadruple digit number. That's actually crazy.
On this remote corner of southern Australia, it's pupping season for the Australian sea lions. Equally at home in the sea as they are on land. Their pups are born on the shore. Only a week old, this male pup has the potential to grow to 30 times his weight, live to over 20 years old, and fight many battles in his lifetime. But for now, he is completely dependent on his mother.
Yes. Oh my god, that was a huge run.
Mum and pup form a strong
I was
bond.
6 short of
Quickly learning to
3,500
recognize
mammoths.
each other's unique scent and
We can
calls.
do it. That means we can do it. And that was plus 100.
Mum will spend an incredible 18 months dedicated to her pup before she will give birth again. During this time, she will be his teacher, passing on her knowledge of where to find food and how to catch it. Knowledge he will need to eventually survive on his own, if he can avoid the threats that await him. Despite the care of their mothers, only about half these pups will survive this vulnerable time. As their name suggests, Australian sea lions are only found in Australia, along the rugged southwest coast and islands. While physically similar to sea lions in other parts of the world, they differ by breeding only every 18 months.
Oh, that's sick. So that's way better than all of my runs I was doing before, even though it was just short of the one I just did. That's pretty good.
200 years ago, sealers hunted them to the brink of extinction. Their population has never fully recovered, perhaps due to their long breeding cycle and slowness to reach maturity. Now one of the most rare and endangered species of seal in the world, their survival hangs in the balance. Although for the most part, they seem relaxed. It's not only sea lions who breed in this rookery. These black-faced cormorants also raise their young on the rocks and depend on the ocean for food. Space is
my neighbor texted me and he was like, "Hey man, do you mind if I make some noise later?" I was like, "I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying fuck." Okay. Time to get this high score. Big stretch. Become seal. Sea lion. Don't look too close.
Each mother is extremely protective of her own pup. But small pups can get caught up in the fray.
Ah!
To make matters worse, large males stalk the females. A week after giving birth, females are fertile again for just 24 hours. The male doesn't want to miss this opportunity, so he mate guards them, using pheromone cues to tell if they're receptive.
That's scary.
Although they'll let him know if the time is not right. Rival males travel up and down the coast, willing to fight for mating opportunities.
My kids can't hide anything from me. I'm home! Especially when they've been using toilet paper that doesn't hold up. Charmin Ultra Strong has a diamond weave texture.
My kids can't hide anything from me. It's a horrifying statement.
It's a time of new life and violent clashes. The Challenger.
Okay, I'm not liking the sea lion documentary. So we might. Yeah, gray seals. This is a seal. This is an official seal. Wow.
In the icy waters of the North Atlantic, there lives an animal that has adapted to major changes in its environment. Adept at hunting fast, elusive prey, it is one of Europe's largest predators.
Okay, I'm gonna hit a different benchmark.
The gray seal. The name conjures up images of appealing pups or amusing antics. And yet, there is another side to these creatures. They have always been targeted by formidable predators. And recently, members of their own species have turned traitor. Nowadays, they can be found swimming up rivers or hunting porpoises. To understand their changing behavior, we must follow in their wake and learn more about their lives in the changing seas. The shores of the North Atlantic are home to colonies of gray seals.
Oh my god, I literally just beat my high score there, first run.
Canada to Sweden.
Teeny bit, let's run it again.
Their preference is for temperate, stormy seas. Since seal hunting was banned at the end of the 1970s, the population has grown around 10% each year. But in the last few years, their numbers have leveled out. Today, scientists are just beginning to understand why. Thanks to improved annual surveys and advances in animal tagging. Though their coastal activities were well documented, scientists can now uncover their movements at sea, their offshore hunting grounds, and their unexpected prey. It is September, and this young male is in search of a new place to live. On one of the many islands scattered around Great Britain that are home to 40% of the world's gray seal population.
Oh, I'm having so much fun. This is a fun little challenge.
Among them is the Isle of May, off the east coast of Scotland. The young male takes his chances where he can. But this island is already occupied by a 600-pound male seal who is keen to keep intruders off his property.
You're about to lose $50,000 for your car accident.
Shut the hell up, AI ad. AI advertisement. Get out of here.
The young pretender has no chance against a heavyweight of this size and beats a retreat. Scientists previously believed that seals were philopatric. In other words, they returned to their birthplace to reproduce. But tagged or ringed seals have shown that that is not always the case. They have discovered that a young male is able to swim more than 600 miles in his search for a new territory. The young male is looking for the ideal location, an isolated island that is never completely underwater. Other seals have had the same idea, and the current occupant makes his feelings perfectly clear.
Okay, I'm done with this one. I love the live stream name. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, going to Dutch. Dutch would be nice right now. I could use a Dutch too.
He must confront all the reigning male seals. If he can't take the heat, he must step down. After several weeks of wandering, the young warrior finally arrives at the Orkney Islands in the north of Scotland. The high cliffs of the island of Westray seem completely inaccessible. Since the beginning of his odyssey, he has swum up the entire east coast of Great Britain, covering a distance equivalent to a marathon a day. Finally arriving at Faray, with its seemingly deserted shore. But first appearances are deceptive. You will have to fight again, but this rival is only 6 feet long and weighs a mere 330 pounds.
Oh, nibbling at that high score, but Mammoth
wins the fight.
Mammoth's only 926, 922. Okay, interesting.
With the breeding season approaching, he must defend his territory, with no time to feed. A week after his triumphant victory, he is rewarded with the arrival of female seals that he will protect from intruders. They are smaller, thinner, paler, and prettier. He is now the dominant male, with a harem of 7 shapely beauties. For the next 6 weeks, he needs to keep a close eye on them. To make sure no other males threaten his territory or his harem, he has to continually keep them at bay. Over short distances on land, the seal can move faster than a man running.
Halfway.
From the age of 10 until they die around 15 years later, male grey seals will have to fight around 20 times each autumn. Though rarely fatal, these combats take their toll. As for the females, they have arrived bearing gifts. Impregnated 11 months previously, they have returned to give birth. Grey seals are the largest wild animals to reproduce on land in Great Britain. Curiously, each year, 10 females are born for every 7 males. These half-brothers and sisters are born just a few days apart. Despite their appealing looks, seal pups fail to arouse any paternal instinct in the male.
Want to end your tiring days with a breathtaking, pretty visual?
Shut up.
Pups for 18 days, the length of the short feeding period. During this time, the young consume milk that is more than 50% fat. Drinking 10 pints of milk a day, they quickly pile on the pounds.
Oh. I'm tied basically at 0.1 out of 900 off. That's crazy work.
As the babies gain weight, their super slimmer mothers lose 13 pounds a day and 40% of their body weight during the nursing period.
Where I heard that
Throughout the month
fact.
of November, the coast experiences a grey seal baby boom. On the island of Faray, around 12,000 grey seals pile onto the beach each autumn. It's the second largest colony in Great Britain. Since 2008, The island's population has increased by a mere 4% each year, a drop of 2/3 compared to the 1980s. Yet the birth rate remains high. Over their lifetime, females give birth to a dozen or so young, but when the pups are left on their own, they suffer high mortality. After 2 weeks sheltering from storms in the mud, some females invite their young for a refreshing dip. Lured by their mother's milk, the budding swimmers get their first taste of the bracing water. It's a highly successful teaching method.
Which one was still Fox, I think? No, not quite. I don't want to do this again. I can do it. Sure, this one.
Some even persuade their young to swim by forcing their heads underwater. With little insulation, the youngsters start with short foils, then venture out on their own for longer periods. Unaware of the danger, a new danger, an adult male. It's up to the mothers to keep him at bay. By grouping the youngsters together, the females manage to curb the males' advances. Despite their size difference, the females control the breeding timetable on the island. The females don't eat during the nursing period, and after 18 days they no longer produce enough milk. It's time to wean the pups. Their independence is manifested through molting. Bit by bit, their snowy white fur is replaced. Anything goes when it comes to fur removal.
I thought I finished it. That was horrible. I got a high score. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy where your eyes are able to push past the high score after I just had to whiff there at the end. Medium white coffee golden eagle has been acquired. Just drove past a man screaming, and it sounded like he was laughing manically. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes it's just people. I know, right? Literally, like, edging. I'm gonna do it, watch.
They are now alone, left to their own devices, in the middle of winter, orphans in the storm.
Hopefully, I'll get it.
Half of them will not survive this brutal change. And recently, they have been faced with an enemy from within their own ranks. A male cannibal.
It's a good time to skip an ad. Edged as fuck. Indeed, indeed.
It's an unfair fight. The large male uses all his weight to restrain his prey. Nearby, the seal's mother has heard its cries. She distracts the cannibal. And, miraculously, the young seal escapes with minor wounds. But the male...
Oh, I was whiff on that last little bit. Oh my god, that beat it though. That beat it. That beat it. That beat it. No more edging. I'm significantly into fox. And 787, I could probably hit 83. I could probably go for the 783. Yeah, the seal noises are nuts. They're so sexual. It's just constant boning.
This behavior has been observed in several British islands over the last 20 years or so. Each cannibal seal kills around a dozen pups per year. Surprisingly, they take only a strip of fat before abandoning their victims. It is thought that this cannibalism is motivated by sexual frustration rather than hunger. Certainly, their strategy looks a lot like that practiced by young males. Their target? Young females attempting to return to the island. Just like the cannibals, males use their physical prowess to immobilize their victims in shallow water. The female puts up a fight, but gripped by the neck, she cannot escape. The male could easily kill his partner, but he has other plans, reproducing to ensure his genes are passed on. These young seals are known as peripheral males.
This is horrifying.
It is estimated that they are 10 times less likely to reproduce as the dominant males. But with many of them around, they often succeed.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, whatever. We're gonna get off of this one. It takes too long.
December marks the end of the mating season.
Very good.
All the females
Oh,
have left
I
the
really
island.
don't want to do ground Sparky.
Only a few solitary
Post
males
flick.
remain. The last remaining orphans choose this moment to
Yeah,
leave,
let's do Voltaic easy.
to face the stormy seas.
Okay, so
The gray seal's reproductive calendar has always seemed contradictory. The pups are abandoned in the middle of winter in extreme weather conditions. At the mercy of males with an appetite for seal meat. The young need to escape without being seen by the cannibal. Some sneak out using hidden underwater passages.
oh my god, yeah, I killed my score there. Let's go. I'm running it back. I want 63. Yeah, I wasn't even in Fox, and I killed. Almost got Mammoth. Ugh. Ugh.
Luckily, the fault lines lead to the deep sea. Only one young seal remains. Cannot evade the cannibal's keen senses. But it's hard to tell what the seal has in mind. If his aim was to kill, his plans have been foiled. He can't control the pup in deep water. The youngster has escaped into the stormy sea. Its future will be forged in the wild water. It will need to survive amongst these liquid mountains where fish are rare.
Oh, 59, that's buns. Buns.
During the first few months at sea, the seal's fat reserves start to diminish in the icy water. Like this young female, though she's never been taught to hunt, her instinct quickly takes over. Though seaweed, the salad of the seas, will not keep her going for long. But she can rely on her fat reserves to survive until spring, if she saves her energy. Since cold water burns fat more quickly than the air,
Ooh, so close.
Pass some time on land to conserve energy. On average, they spend a day on land for every 4 days at sea. They learn to use their senses by instinct. Their eyesight works well in low light, whether above or below water, allowing them to detect prowling males. Their sense of smell is so acute that they can distinguish each specific seal by odor alone. Even out of water, the seal has a heightened awareness of its environment. Their whiskers are 10 times more sensitive than a cat's. Even in total darkness, they can sense vibrations created by moving bodies. These vibrations are not those of a marauding male. This tub of lard takes advantage of some cold water therapy. While he sleeps,
59
he regulates
again
his
down.
temperature by keeping his body in icy water. The young seal can easily slip past while he's not paying attention. And it looks like the coast is clear. It's the ideal moment to head to sea. But strange noises are getting closer all the time. coming from all directions and mixed with clicking noises.
Lemonade is changing insurance, starting with
59 again? Oh my god. I'm like annoyed. I'm really annoyed.
Killer whales. The whole family has come to hunt seals. Most experienced whales allow the youngest to practice knocking out the seals. Before sharing the meal with the others.
Damn, I'm 16. Oh, I'm upset I didn't get that one, genuinely.
Killer whales, or orcas, have always hunted seals. North Atlantic killer whales also eat fish, but since fish stocks are falling, they concentrate on seals, and increasingly, they can be seen close to the coast. So all seals, both young and old, must learn to live with these dark menaces.
$58. That's trash.
The seal that escaped knows how to tell where the orcas are from a distance, even while asleep. By inflating his lungs, the seal floats in the water and sleeps with one eye open during its travels. Its whiskers detect any unusual vibrations at the surface or underwater. Gray seals' hearing is even more acute in water than in air, so they can identify the vocalizations of their mortal enemy. The mere sight of a dorsal fin terrorizes all the seals, and for good reason. Under the 6-foot black blade is a 9-ton predator. Killer whales hunt in packs and can reach speeds of over 40 miles an hour. The seals have no chance.
Yeah.
Their only solution is to huddle together on a makeshift shelter. The killer whales cannot risk beaching on the barnacle-covered rocks, or they would shred their skin. Instead, they try to muddy the waters. The females and the young stay below the surface, changing positions, while the male intimidates the seals by making his presence felt. The seals don't budge. killer whales leave to surprise less careful seals elsewhere. Killer whales appear only at the end of spring and during the summer in Scotland, when the seals are fat and well fed.
Okay, I'm just not gonna get that one, I guess. Maybe Controls here? Oh, this one's really close.
The increased sunlight in these northern latitudes.
I need 6. I think I was doing this one earlier. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
This microscopic seaweed turns the surface of the water green and attracts other animals.
Imagine if that pile of stuff to clean disappeared.
If you got
oh my god, it's the AI adding in. That's crazy work. Whew. I played so much Kovacs. I am getting like, I feel weird. I'm not drowsy, but I feel funky.
Fish and shellfish that provide food for predators. In the 3 years after leaving their birthplace, the young seals hunt these prey following the currents. With no place to call home, they disperse. One seal left Faray and headed to the north of Scotland, passing through the Pentland Firth, with its remarkable red sandstone sea stacks. Strange geological formations eroded by the wind and the sea. Then it turned back and headed south down the length of the west coast of Scotland. Without hunting lessons, the seal relies on its instinct and watches other seals and marine animals in the hope of sharing their feast.
Oh, I'm doing really bad here.
Northern gannets.
Yeah, take a little breaky. When was your last smoke? I haven't smoked in a minute. I've literally just been non-stop in this. Yeah, I did take a little breaky. Here, wait. Let me transition to Kovacs without a TV. Yeah, just like that. And then I'm gonna whip up a little something else.